All right, guys, today's video is going to be extremely complex yet interesting. This is just going to be a quick overview of Saturn worship. This is a subject so complex, there's no way we're going to be able to get this in a quick video. But if you guys are interested, I'll make more longer videos. So we're just going to start out. Well, for Saturn, for thousands of years, the ancients worshiped Saturn. And it's very complex. It's not always evil, but lots of times it's associated with bad, trapping you, sacrifice. There is some good aspects of Saturn. So it's way more complicated than just say Saturn's evil, but it does represent a lot of the bad. And on Saturn, well, let's get first off, it always is represented by a black cube. It's extremely interesting because in the 80s, they looked at Saturn and they found a hexagram shape on it. Now, a hexagram can actually be turned into a cube with a line. So let's go ahead and pull our next image up. So it can be, see how a cube also represents a hexagram. Also, the Star of David, which is on the Israeli flag. And, you know, lots of us now, we talk about represents bad and evil. What better example of this? Now let's go ahead and pull, it's on a lot of things. This is really interesting. People aren't going to be happy about this because I have a lot of Muslim followers, but why is there a black cube in Mecca? And it gets much more interesting. They circle the black cube 7 times, counterclockwise. How many rings does Saturn have? 7. What direction does the storm circle? Counterclockwise. That definitely could be a coincidence, but it's a strange coincidence when there's a black cube on Saturn and there's 7 rings and it's spinning counterclockwise. Anyways, we have a few more images. This is Operation Warp Speed. What do you see? A black cube in the middle with the poison. So it's lots of, you start seeing these patterns over and over. And then there's way more. Go pull up the next image. All over the place, there's these giant black cubes. This was in New York by my old house in Astor's Place. This was commissioned, I believe, by a Jewish artist. Not quite sure why these black cubes are all over the place, but when you start looking them up and who commissioned them and did the art for them, it's almost always people of the tribe, these giant black cubes. They're sitting there, they right before us, and we just never noticed. All right, now here, we're going to do a quick video of David Icke. This is from my podcast. We all thought David Icke was crazy, or at least most of us did, but he's been talking about this Saturn worship for decades. And here's just a little quick intro of him talking about it.
At the north pole of Saturn, there's a permanent storm that forms a hexagram.
It looks just like the Star of David. The cube is basically the same as the hexagram. Satanists have also worshipped black cubes. You see the black cubes. The Jews put it on their head. The weird one that got me was in Mecca, giant black cubes. That was bizarre.
These symbols give off the frequency they represent. So if a black cube and a 6-pointed star and a hexagon is the frequency of Saturn, then that's the frequency they give off. There was a guy called Sabbatai Zevi. Sabbatai means Saturn. Sabbatai Zevi, and he was promoted as the Messiah, the Jewish Messiah.
That's actually interesting. Sabbatai Zevi, he was the Jewish Messiah in 1666, the year of the beast. He was so powerful, 80% of the Jews worshipped him as the Antichrist. He believed in sin, evil. He was completely wiped out of history books. He marched in the Ottoman Empire. He marched up and demanded the king bow before him and give him his crown. But his over arrogance backfired and he was arrested and told you have to convert to Islam or be murdered. And he fake converted to Islam, which a lot of today's Muslims are crypto Jews. This is actually well documented. You can look at Turkey, the Doma, I believe it is. They're the ones that did the Armenian genocide. These are the disciples of Sabbatai Zevi. This is not like some speculation. This is fact.
Didn't stay in ancient temples. They're hidden in modern logos all around us. The swoosh, the sickle, the ring, these all trace back to Saturn, the god of time, of limitation. Even the number 6 and cube designs show up in branding. Energy drinks, tech architecture, the same Saturn codes repeated. Saturn is also tied to cycles. They carry Saturn's marks into modern culture. The ebook link is in the bio. Saturn symbol.
Yeah, this is all stuff I've completely just ignored, tune out when people start talking about it like they're crazy. But after starting to actually dig and look into it, you see there's something there. And I'm still trying to figure out what. I'm not saying I know exactly what it is and I have all the answers. What is this Black Cube? Is this the Israeli company? Black Cube. I think this is this is the Israeli company, right? It's called Black Cube. They're this Israeli intelligence company that you can hire. They for Harvey Weinstein. They've been arrested multiple times. They do illegal activities. And look at their phone numbers. They all end with 666, Madrid, London, Tel Aviv. So Saturn represents Singapore, represents evil, 666, the beast. They're literally telling you that they're a satanic organization. They're Israeli. Shocking, right? I think a lot of people have seen that that country is a very satanic, evil country. It's very clear right before our eyes. And then they're telling you 666, here's the Black Cube. It couldn't be any more clear. Here's a video of Jordan Maxwell. He's someone I've just discovered, but like Ike, he's one of the few people that seems to understand this subject and be doing good material on it.
First of all of the things which are going on in this world today, from 9/11, all of the wars in the Middle East, all of the incredible bloodshed that's being spilled all over the earth, can be traced back to, and you might want to remember what I'm saying here, because I'm sure you're not going to make the connection when I first tell you, but I'm going to try to explain it to you. The things which are happening today, the people who are in power in this country, the great generals from around the world who are planning wars and violence and bloodshed, all of this stuff can be traced back to the planet Saturn. Saturn is a very, very pivotal, important concept in theology and religion. And most people have never been told any of this and have no knowledge of it at all.
Interesting that this is like, it's almost been wiped out and written out of history, kind of like the Sabotage Zevi. They take it and write it out. And just to be clear, I'm not claiming everything this guy says is true. This is a new subject to me. And it's definitely worth looking into. It's 100% worth looking into. Which parts are true, I'm still trying to figure out. But there are elites that have this hidden Saturn worship.
But the planet Saturn is very important in world affairs, in theology. In the Islamic belief, the holy city of Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, Mecca has a Masonic circle, and within the Masonic circle is a square, because you got to do everything on the square, remember. You have a town square, you have New York
The
Square,
cube becomes a square.
you have a Vatican Square, you have Red Square, you have all kinds of squares. Why? Because this is Masonic. And it goes all the way back into the ancient world.
I'm not going to get into the Masonics. This is something I also tuned out when people break up Freemasons and all this. I started going down that rabbit hole. It's absolutely insane and way more to it than I thought. But that's a whole separate video.
The terms and symbols. Again, the planet Saturn is called the black square. It's called the dark sun, the black sun. Saturn was the god of darkness, chaos, and destruction. He teaches you a lesson. He will take your life if you don't listen to him. So consequently, Saturn was very, very important in the ancient world. Thank you. Saturn's name, incidentally, in the old Phoenician ancient Canaanite religion in the Middle East, the old Phoenician Canaanite worship of the planet Saturn was the most important god of all the ancient world, was the planet Saturn, and his symbol, long before the Hebrews were ever in Cana, the symbol in Cana for the planet Saturn was a six-pointed star. Today we call that star the Star of David. There was no Star of David. It's the star
I
of
find it so
Saturn.
interesting that there's allegedly there's that Star of David thing on Saturn, which is a black cube, and they worship Saturn with the black cube for thousands of years. Something's weird there.
Hey guys, I'm demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support me and the podcast, go to fightbackpodcast.com and you can buy some cool merch like the shirt I'm wearing now.
Hey guys, I want to introduce you to one of our sponsors, Antelope Hill Publishing. Antelope Hill publishes books such as Culture of Critique by Dr. Kevin McDonald, who's someone I've interviewed on my show. He talks about the evolutionary strategy of the chosen people. So go to antelopehillpublishing.com and use promo code FIGHTBACK to support the podcast and get a discount. That's antelopehillpublishing.com and promo code FIGHTBACK.
All of the Jewish reference books, all the Encyclopedia Judaica, you go to the synagogue, go up into Mulholland Drive, up to the Jewish University and spend 3 weeks there and look up Saturn. You'll find out that 98% of all Judaism is a worship of the planet Saturn. Better wake up and understand where this stuff comes from. Because if there is a God in heaven, if there is a divine presence in the universe that demands righteousness and justice, then you're going to have to rethink what we believe and where we're going and what the world is all about, because for the last 2,000 years, we haven't done too well. Christians have been praying to God to help this nation, to protect their family, and evil grows and multiplies each day. And the more Christians pray, the more evil the pervasiveness becomes.
Unfortunately, this seems...
And the reason why is because we are not in tune with the universal God force. We're not in tune with the truth. We're in tune with what we've been told is the truth. We understand that thing that we've been told about government, that we have to pay your taxes because that's the law. You think, what law? Where is there a law that says that? Well, it's in there somewhere. No. Where is the law? And then you find out, well, it was just a lie. The whole thing was a lie. The whole thing is a sham. Well, the same thing is true in our theological thinking. The reason why I'm bringing this subject up is because I feel it's important now in the year 2002, because I think that very soon we're going to experience...
passed away. If not, I'm going to look up and try to interview him, because I found multiple clips on this guy with Saturn and other subjects, and he's very interesting because there's not very many people like him, David Icke, that's been talking about these crazy subjects. But if you actually look, there's a well-documented history of the Saturn worship. It's not like random made-up nonsense.
Some pretty dynamic spiritual things are going to begin to happen on the earth, because I do not believe that the divine presence in the universe that men have called God is going to allow this to go on much longer. But the way history has always shown us is that when God moves, theologically speaking, when God moves, people die. And consequently, I think that we are coming to a point where we're going to be in serious trouble, and that's why I want to help my fellow man to become spiritually prepared for what's coming. And the only way you're going to do that is
marching down the wrong spiritual path, and something bad's coming unless we do something. Hopefully God will intervene, but I don't think we can count on God to do it. God helps those who help themselves.
Understand where things come from and begin to appreciate we've been misled again. Saturn was referred to, as I said, its symbol was the six-pointed star. Today we call it the Star of David. Saturn was referred to as El, E-L. El was the god Saturn in the old Phoenician Canaanite system. And consequently, anyone that promoted the worship of El is where we get the word elder. You become an elder because you were worshiping El. And when you worship El and become an elder, then how did you get to be an elder? You got elected. So therefore we have elections. Now that you have been elected to be an elder, now you are one of the elites. Why? Because now you have moved up, like in an elevator. You are now moved up in society. Consequently, it's all money. It's all manipulation and exploitation coming out of Phoenicia, Cana.
And if we
It goes
seen, they just print money out of thin air. And Saturn's also involved with banking, control. So it's all connected. And as you see with the politicians, they're elected, kind of. I've been looking to politics recently, and they have this well-designed system with money, boost, where it's almost impossible to get elected unless you're part of the system. Not impossible, but close to it.
back to the old Sumerian, Babylonian systems of words and terms and symbols and emblems that have been used to manipulate the whole human race. Because our masters don't give a damn about you or your family or your destiny with God. All they care about is what they have always cared about, and that's controlling the whole damn world. Consequently, if anything's going to happen in this country to turn it around, we're going to need a renaissance, an intellectual, spiritual renaissance, because you can't do it with arms. Adolf Hitler rose to power the same way George Bush did. It's the simple Mickey Mouse routine that it works every time. Somewhere along the line, we're going to discover we've been had, if we haven't already figured it out. I want to show you how the planet Saturn, the Saturnalian Brotherhood, the worship of the planet Saturn. Saturn's color was black. The black, each one of the gods and each one of the planets were associated with a different color. Green was associated with Venus, and that's why today in Islamic countries today, you will see all of their flags and harlotry in Islamic world are in green. And you'll see the crescent with the star. Many people think the crescent is the crescent of the moon, but it is not. According to the actual research documents, the crescent on the Islamic flags is the crescent of the planet Venus.
I always assumed it was.
And the star represents Venus.
Guy's likely right.
It is a religion that is based on the worship of Venus, but which has incorporated the Saturnalian philosophy in it. So, like all the other religions, it is also a very eclectic religion. The ancient Phoenician Canaanites said that the women should listen to their god Saturn. They always knew Saturn had rings. So they said the women should listen to their god.
They knew it had rings. They knew it had that storm. Or, or there's some conspiracy theories would say what they're showing in NASA is fake. I have no idea. It's probably not true, but it's worth considering.
So women were to wear earrings. Men were to get married before their god, so they were to wear a wedding ring. Kings were to get crowned before their god, so consequently they would have a round crown, the corona. The ring, Saturn, is the god of this world.
Yeah, this is such a complex topic. We're not going to fully understand it right now, but let's do a couple more. Now, here's a video of some celebrities in Saturn. Saturn necklace. Saturn necklace. Saturn necklace. Saturn tattoo. Saturn necklace. Saturn necklace. Saturn necklace. With Saturn necklace, see how many they're everywhere. Saturn necklace. Saturn necklace. And if you look at both Hollywood and the music industry, it's all Masonic founded, like 100% Freemason found it. Now, here's an old cartoon by two Jewish brothers, and it's talking about how the Earth is sold to Saturn. You go ahead and play this.
Beat 20. 20 is fit. Going. Gone. I got them the whole time. Gimme. On the money. The cash. Yeah, you got a few. Thank you. So
with his big nose, looks a little bit greedy, buying the Earth. I wonder what this is representing.
And see what happens.
Look at all the facial features. See what he's sucking out of it, sucking the life out of it, sucking all the resources out of it. Like they're trying to tell us. Right. I think that's probably good for that. We have a few more videos to pull up. What is this? Looks like more celebrities. A Saturn head thing. That's a little strange, you know. Yeah, celebrities try to be strange, but it's also, if you actually start looking at the imagery they use, it's all Masonic. Then you look up every one of the big MGM, Warner Brothers. They were all founded by Freemasons. All Jewish too, but all Jewish Freemasons, mostly 33rd degree Masons. Like he's noticing patterns. Yeah, that's definitely a weird headpiece. Oh, another Saturn thing. Saturn again. You don't see other planets like this, Saturn. You think the moon, you would see Saturn. Like the moon's the one we really see that we could see at night. Saturn. Wouldn't the moon be more interesting? Saturn earrings. Always with the rings too. Saturn tattoo. Saturn tattoo. Worshipping Saturn. More Saturn necklaces. So tons of Saturn necklaces, tattoos, mixed in with like worship. It could just be they like Saturn or coincidence, but it seems unlikely, especially on a headpiece. Okay, here we have, this is the 9/11 memorial where the World Trade Center was taken down. It's almost like a sacrifice when they smashed the planes into it. Well, there's lots of conspiracies in 9/11, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. But look, it's a black cube within a black cube. And here is John Pounders. I recently had him on my podcast. He's one of the few guys also who's been talking about all this strange, unusual stuff for years. Again, that's the picture of me sitting with the black cube, and we'll play this video.
The black cube basically is the hexagram. You also see the black cube in Islam. You see it in Judaism when they have it on their head. Yeah, you see it in Masonry because they have the block, and then they'll have on the four corners, they'll have the four sacred books. And so it's even in Masonry as well, the black cube. But what it ultimately represents is the worship of Saturn. And Saturn was the god who ate his own children. Like it's what it says. He ate his children. He was the eater of the gods. He had these children. He didn't like what they're doing, and he ate them. And it's interesting when you see the planet of Saturn, it has the hexagram on the top of it.
God is so interesting. So who don't know, there's like they say it's a storm, but it's been there forever. It has a hexagram, looks just like the Star of David.
And then the rings are starting to diminish now. A lot of people believe that represents the chains that was holding this god, because like in all the representations of Saturn, he's coming back again.
So yeah, I think we're going to end by playing you the sound of Saturn. All planets have sounds, but Saturn has the most eerie, weird sound. But before we do, because we'll kind of let's play for a minute or two, if you guys have more interest in videos like this, let me know, because I'll make them. I just don't want to, it takes a little bit of time to do. This is such a complex issue. To do a good video on this is going to take me, probably a full day. So I just kind of threw this together to see if there's interest. But if you guys have interest on Saturn, I'll spend a full day putting together a really well done, detailed video on this, because it's such a complex subject. And I think people should be looking at this, should be learning more. But now also, let me know what you think in the comments, like, subscribe. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to fightbackpodcast.com, buy shirts, merch, or any other ways. But just anyways, thanks for watching. And now we'll end with the sounds of Saturn. How creepy that is. No other planet has this creepy sound. Like out of a horror movie. We'll play another minute while we have it. If you're an astronaut and you went to Saturn and heard these sounds, I'd get the hell out of there. And it's got The hexagram on it, by the way, that's a storm that's been going on. They first discovered it in the 80s, and supposedly it's still there. That's a long time for a storm. Oh, we didn't talk about it. The other side of Saturn has an eye on it. Could that be like the all-seeing eye that represents? I don't know the answer to that, but it's worth asking. Did the volume? We can put the volume up and just talk over it. Party. What, you're an astronaut there? Would you get the hell out of there? No. Definitely the strangest of the planets, the seven rings. Again, I don't know. This is subject to me. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you there's lots of weird stuff going on with Saturn workup. Historically, the fact that they always represented it with a black cube. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As many of you know, I have many controversial guests, so that comes at a cost of being demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support the program, go to fightbackpodcast.com, and I have all kinds of merch on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fighting, political, and other accessories. And thanks for the support.